This podcast is brought to you by Podcast Nation.
Shopping is hard, right? But there's a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And she sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what I love and send back the rest. It's so easy. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Welcome to Nirvana Sisters, where we discuss all things health and well-being to help you achieve your highest state, your nirvana. Hi, I'm Amy Sherman, a marketing exec with a passion for wellness and beauty.
Hi, I'm Katie Chandler, a former fit model that has a passion for health and fitness.
We are sisters-in-law who share the same love for well-being, ready to sift through all the self-care noise and bring you a splash of what we think is fun. So let's get started. Welcome to Nirvana Sisters family. I am so excited that we are talking with Amina Taha today, straight from Egypt, and we're so excited to have her on the podcast. She's a friend of mine that I met a few years ago. She's an amazing human being, and I'm so excited to hear everything that she has to tell us about her journey to yoga. So Amina found yoga at the age of 27 during the start of her career as a fashion designer. She was immediately drawn to yoga and how it taught her about her body and herself. Without further ado, I will say hello to Amina. How are you, Amina?
Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for your time. I know you're in Egypt, and it's like, what time is it there? It's probably like 8 hours ahead.
It's 6:30 right now.
Oh,
so
6:30.
6 hours ahead.
Yeah, 6 hours. Okay. Amazing. So we always start our show, Amina, with a weekly Nirvana, and it's really just a way to talk about what brought us joy this week, big or small, just something that brought us a little bit of sunshine. So I'll hand it to Katie to do her weekly Nirvana first.
All right. Well, thanks, Amy. Hi, Amina. It's so great to finally meet you. We've been talking about this for a long time.
So excited to be here.
So my weekly Nirvana, I think, honestly, is about to happen, aside from how fabulous this is. As soon as we sign off, I'm going to go have a special day with my mom and my 2 girls. We're getting ready to move out of the state. So it's been kind of crazy and hectic around here. So we're going to go do mani-pedis and go shopping and just have a fun little girls' day. So I'm excited for that. So,
that's so fun.
Yeah,
That's
it'll be
so
fun. What about you, Amy?
Well, I'm probably about to have mine too, because my boys, Jackson and Jules, who are 14 and 11, for those who are new listeners, have been at summer camp all summer for 7 weeks. And they didn't have a visiting day this year, obviously, because of the pandemic. So we're going to pick them up in like an hour. So I'm so excited to see them. So that's my future Nirvana. My weekly Nirvana, I've had a pretty busy week. I would say one little thing that brought me joy, which is kind of silly/embarrassing, is that I tried to not drink this week. And for the next like 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm not going to drink anything because Amina, I've been like on vacation and just having a summer, with the boys gone and drinking and just enjoying it. I'm like, this is just too gluttonous. I need to cut it off. So I haven't drank all week. I've eaten really clean and I feel so good. So it was just, I don't know, I was just feeling really good this week because I was cutting out all of the sugar and all the bad stuff for me. So that's my Nirvana. What about you, Amina?
That's amazing. I'm proud of you. For me, it was also kind of related to motherhood. I was in this cute little town called Dahab in Egypt. That's kind of a diving and snorkeling town. And I was walking with my son, and just ahead of us was my sister and her husband. And so we were kind of walking behind me and my 3-year-old boy. And he just kissed my hand and said, "I love spending time with you, Mama." And it just melted my heart.
I have chills.
And I still keep this moment with me throughout the week because of how special it was.
Oh, he's so sweet. What's his name again?
Malik.
Malik, that's right.
That's such a good name.
I remember when we met, he was like a baby, and I watched him grow on your Instagram, and he's beautiful. And I love all the pictures with you guys together.
That trip that I met you was actually the first time I had left him ever.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's right. And we had that long conversation about motherhood on the boat. I remember that.
Yeah.
So Katie, I have just, I've been to some of Amina's classes in New York, and I've talked to her a lot, and I really wanted to interview her for the show because one thing stuck out to me, Amina, and I think I told you when we were chatting that when I first met Amina, I was like, oh my God, she's so incredible. She's so flexible. She's so beautiful. Yoga just must come to her like so easily. And I remember her saying, no, in fact, I just started yoga. I think it was at that point, maybe you had started yoga 5 years ago, and you were like, I couldn't touch my toes when I first started. I was not athletic. I would lay around on the couch, and I was like blown away because someone like you seems to me like you would just like have it in your nature. So thank you for coming on the show. And I just wanted to give Katie that little update because I was just so impressed. So we have some quick fire questions, and then we'll kind of get into the main interview. But how long have you been practicing yoga?
I started November 2014, so it's about 7 years now, I would say.
Amazing. And what is your favorite pose?
My favorite pose changes every week. This week, it's Happy Baby, just because it feels so good. And I like to do the lion's breath in it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I did a Happy Baby under the stars in a workshop. So it just felt so amazing. And I still love that pose right now.
That sounds amazing.
That's awesome. Okay. So Amina, tell us about growing up in Egypt and your background and kind of your journey to yoga.
So I actually moved to Egypt in middle school, and I always wanted to study fashion. So yoga was completely out of my, ambitions or any kind of future plan. And when the revolution happened, I had just graduated. So the Egyptian revolution happened in 2011, and I had just graduated university. I had studied fine arts. And I was dreaming about, living abroad and studying fashion because there was no fashion schools in Egypt. So I moved to Paris, did an intro to fashion course, and then from there did another, applied basically to do a master's in fashion in New York. And I finished that. And then I was about to start my first job, which was in Abu Dhabi in fashion. And I had a month to kill. So in that month to kill, I was like, let me start something new, like a new hobby. And that's how I walked into my first yoga class. And my life just completely changed from there because it became my passion.
That sounds amazing. You, first of all, you're not little, but your big growth through fashion sounds epic in Paris and New York. That must have been such an unbelievable experience.
I still love it. It's always going to stay a part of me. But if for some reason I just felt more connected to my purpose felt more true to teaching yoga. Nothing brought me more joy than doing that.
That's really beautiful. Were you active before? Did you exercise or do anything prior to that?
Never.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
wow.
That's incredible.
I could not touch my toes. I had never done any. I just always also labeled myself as a person who just doesn't enjoy sports, who's not active. So I had the most unhealthy kind of foods lifestyle. I just had a really fast metabolism. So I would wake up and eat cheesecake. I was like a smoker for a few years. I just had this disconnect from my body. And I felt like I was a stranger in my body. I never really understood my body. And then that's really what drew me the most to yoga was that at 27, I felt like, oh, I can start to actually connect to this vessel that I use every day,
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I started practicing yoga, I want to say like maybe 3 years ago, but nowhere near anything like you. I'm so curious about your practice. Like when you first started, were you just taking the occasional class and then you realized that you enjoyed it and ramped up? Like, how did that transition happen? Because I mean, I'm lucky if I get like 2 30-minute sessions in a week, which is so lame. But how did that happen for you?
So I actually had that month to kill until my office was ready. So I was practicing very consistently. The first month that I started, I was going to yoga classes, I would say like about 3 times a week. And I just had the, kind of the luxury of going whenever I wanted in the day. And then when I started my 9-to-5 job, that's when I really felt the shift after doing it for a month as much as I wanted. Then having that, like I'm sitting on a desk 9 to 5, then I started to have to prioritize it into my day. So I'd wake up really early, practice at home, or I would finish my my work, my meetings, and I would go to like a yoga class in the evening. And I didn't have, you know, an abundance of yoga studios around me. So I actually had to also rely on myself in that process of just reading up about things, you know, reading up about the body or anatomy, or like whatever I was inspired to achieve. For example, I was like, oh, I would love to do a headstand. It would be so cool if I could do a headstand. And then I would watch these tutorials and kind of teach myself step by step how to do that. So I was already kind of on the path of becoming a yoga teacher because I was teaching myself and everybody around me because I was so excited about these things that I was learning. So I definitely prioritized it. And I would say I had a daily practice for the most part ever since I started, like
wow,
minimum, maybe like five, you know, yeah, like 3 to 5 times a week. But once I had that 9 to 5 job, I was doing it almost every day.
wow. And for the listener, Amina can do yoga positions that, I mean, just are completely uncommon and very rare. I mean, you can bend your body into things I've never seen before. It's really amazing. The other day I saw on Insta, you were like halfway upside down and you had your arm completely wrapped around your leg and your leg was over your shoulder. And like, it was insane. So it's really impressive. It's so cool.
And being that you weren't able to touch your toes before you started, like, how does that happen? I mean, how can you go from one to the other? Is it just the practice and the repetition and your body just gets the mental memory and gets used to it? I mean, it's really remarkable.
Honestly, I think I believe truly that if you are in control of your breath and if you are, you know, using your breath as a tool to keep your nervous system calm and you're not forcing anything, you're actually just being curious and just breathing and also prioritizing stability over everything in your flexibility practice, you can do anything. That's what I always tell my students. Like, if I can do this, you can do it. I had the most rounded upper spine when I started. I was always sitting down and hunching over on a table in like fashion school. My shoulders were tight, my hips were tight. Like, so all of these things I feel like are just about convincing your body, you know, the brakes on your body are done by your nervous system. So if you are breathing slowly, using a lot of ease and a lot of like just gentle techniques with your body, you will be able to release any kind of tension that you've accumulated. And I always like to think of it as we're all born flexible. This, whatever tension we have or holding on to, it's just accumulation of years of postural habits, or, you know, it's not something that's outside of us. We are all flexible. We just have to uncover those layers of what doesn't need to be there.
You know,
Yeah.
that is, I've never thought about that before. And that is so true. Because if you think about babies, you're right. You are literally born flexible, and then the world takes over and you become not flexible. So I love that. And I think with the breath, I mean, I practice breath work as much as I can. And I think practicing the breath work is probably just as, you probably have to do that just as rigorously as you practice the poses, because they both require work and repetition, I would imagine.
What is that? What's the breath? I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, like Uwaji or something that you do in yoga specifically. What is it called?
It's the ujjayi, yeah.
Ujjayi.
And it's that the reason this breath is so powerful is because it's meditative, because it has a sound. So you're just focusing on the sound of your breathing. And when you're focusing on the sound of your breathing, any thoughts about your body kind of start to, you know, you have a little bit of space, because, you know, I've had these moments where I've gone into a pose and thought, oh, I'm so stiff. Oh, today is just not my day. My hips are tight. You know, our minds are always narrating and chattering and telling us judgments about us or about the world around us. So in your practice with your ujjayi breath, you're actually able to just be like, hey, wait a minute, I'm just going to tune into my breath and just allow whatever is to be. And I'm not going to try to make these constant assessments and judgments.
What is the trick that makes you make that sound? I can't remember. How do you describe that?
You basically like constrict the airflow. So you squeeze the muscles at the back of your throat. And when you do that, it makes that sound like an oceanic kind of sound. And it's so fascinating because I always thought of it as a meditative breath, but I recently have been reading a lot about how this breath is tied to your deep core muscles and your pelvic floor. So it's actually when you actually activate that throat breath activation, you're actually contracting your entire midline all the way down to the base of your pelvis, your pelvic floor. So it even allows you to use your core without even being consciously squeezing your core. You're actually contracting your core just with that breath.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
Wow, that is incredible. So, Amina, you've been teaching for a really long time, and then obviously, growing and getting super popular. And for anyone who hasn't taken a class with Amina, I highly recommend that you do. I think the last time I saw you, Amina, we met in Brooklyn and I did that class and I felt so incredible afterwards. And I remember doing what's it called? Like a backward bent, a wheelbarrow.
Oh, I
Is that what I
remember
did?
the wheel.
And I
Yes.
hadn't done that in probably 10 years. And in your class, I was able to do it because I felt so relaxed and at ease with you that I felt comfort. I don't know. There was something that came over me that I was like, I'm going to try this again. And I feel safe. So just for anyone that is listening, please go take one of her classes. And now I was going to ask you about your transition to Zoom because I knew you were teaching in person. Then obviously everything hit. So how did that work, the transition? And tell us about that a little bit.
So I actually felt a sense of panic when COVID happened because my in studio classes were canceled, put on hold for, indefinitely. So I was upset because this is the main thing that I just love doing, and so I remember feeling like, okay, I could sit here and panic or I have to just adapt. So I right away started teaching, I think, Instagram lives. And then
I remember that.
And it was really nice, but I also felt like I would love to actually see my students as well. I would love to see them, and just see what they're doing and give them live feedback. So I started teaching on Zoom. At first, it was very manual. I would collect people's emails and send them the link. And it was and then it slowly grew, luckily. And then it got to a point where I just needed the platform to be able to manage all of this. It was crazy. So I found the platform and then I started kind of growing it into packages and subscriptions. And so now it's just super fun that I could just focus on creating workshops or immersion trainings or, classes and people get to join and everything's automated. So it's been great.
So people, is it on your Instagram? Like if someone wants just to sign up for your Zoom class, they can just click a link and then you send them the link and it's all kind of easy.
So I have a weekly schedule that they find in my Instagram bio. And then through that, there's a schedule of all the workshops, all the live classes. And then some people are practicing, from Australia. So the time zone isn't suitable for them. So what they'll do is they'll sign up still, but they'll get a recording to practice the class right after, whenever they're ready.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's great. Do you practice or rather teach various types of yoga or just vinyasa? What do you do? What are you doing there?
Right now, I'm kind of doing this kind of my own thing. So it's a blend of yoga and Pilates, I would say.
It.
And so it's like a bit of, sometimes I'll teach just kind of a more traditional vinyasa flow. Sometimes I'll teach hatha, but right now what my body's loving is a blend of yoga and Pilates. So that's kind of what I've been teaching and playing around with. And it's been really nice because I've been balancing a lot of strength with flexibility, with, graceful yoga transitions. So it's hard to describe, but I would say it's a mix of dynamic flexibility, breath work, and a lot of stability work as well.
And how long are your classes typically on Zoom?
So on Zoom, I do usually 75 minutes. If sometimes workshops could be up to 90 to 2 hours, 90 minutes. But I am also doing some classes that people can stream. And so those, I'm going to have them range from 5 minutes to 60 plus minutes as well.
I need to take one of your classes, stat.
I would love for you to come. That would be amazing.
So tell us about your being an Aloe ambassador. I assume they're probably one of your favorite brands to rock, but how did that all come about?
Yeah, I actually used to buy all my Aloe outfits myself. And this was always a dream. And I would get these brand deals and I would wear this stuff. And then I would always feel like Aloe's just superior, and I still have these moments now that are when they release a new collection and I get sent a new collection, I have these pinch me moments of wow, this is such an incredible opportunity. I love the clothing. Being a former, fashion student, I truly just appreciate how they keep, they get you excited to wear their stuff. And as a brand, I just really align with them. So it's still I still sometimes find it so surreal that that this happened. It was like a dream come true. But yeah, I actually moved to New York when they were opening up a studio, their first New York studio. So I feel like the studio was growing as I was also teaching there. So it feels very personal to me, that space and the brand itself. So yeah.
That's congratulations. I mean, that's huge. It's really exciting. Their yoga app was how I learned how to do yoga. I mean, of course I've taken classes before, but I've never practiced at home. So I used their app and their teachers to learn how. And it's a great app. It offers so much, right?
Yes, it's amazing. Honestly, them as a brand with everything, they just really support their yogis in every sense. And it's incredible to work with them and just to be working with yoga teachers that I was learning from online when I started my journey. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
great.
speaking about starting your journey, I'm sure we have listeners that are across the spectrum, from people that do yoga all the time or people who haven't tried it and want to try. So what would your advice be to someone who wants to start?
So I would say just let go of any expectations of what your practice should look like. And just know that starting anything as a beginner is going to be very humbling and very challenging. And I think it's just reminding yourself that it's not about being, quote unquote, good at anything. It's just about going and having this experience with yourself, getting to know yourself a little bit better, getting to know your body, and just working with it very gently, forcing nothing, and just allowing that journey to unfold naturally. And I think that is just, the most important thing.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
It is. I heard somebody once say about yoga that like it's not a pose, it's a feeling. And I just always try to remember that when I'm going through it. Yeah, because it is helpful, because you think like, am I doing this pose right? Does it look cool? Am I like, if I was in a class right now, would I look like someone that knows how to do yoga? Yeah. You have to remind yourself like it's not what it's about. It's about how it feels. So,
and also like Instagram has also kind of set this, crazy standard for yoga. Like I take accountability for that we all post our best shapes and you rarely really see a person's millions of falls and struggles and how they actually learned to get to where they are. And that process is really important. And that process is the beginner phase. And you're always a beginner. You're never going to, in yoga, there's no such thing as ever mastering anything. You're always going to be, it's a continuous lifelong work in progress. So I think just remembering that and trying to keep it very consistent, just making it a habit, even when it's the last thing you want to do, just get on your mat for 5 to 10 minutes. You can even just put on a song and breathe and move intuitively. And just in that, you're connecting to your body and your breath. And that in itself is so life-changing.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Amina, speaking of the process of yoga, I've seen you'll share on your Instagram a lot of your community and them sort of learning different poses and showing their successes and challenges along the way. So I love that you do that, because it's very relatable to see, the people that are taking your classes and the things that they're learning, and they're not, perfect either. So that's great to hear. And also, speaking of your Instagram, we love all the beautiful photography on your Instagram. It's just gorgeous. And of course, I love the ones with your family. Who does your photography? Do you do it yourself, or do you have someone? How does that work? Because you just have such gorgeous photography.
So it's actually my partner, my husband, who started taking photos of me with a phone when I was first like still learning yoga. And I would be like, can you take this photo? And I would like fall out, and he'd be like, learn it first before you want me to take a photo of it. And he would actually he didn't take it seriously at all, but then when he would take a photo, he had such a good eye that I would post that photo, and I had like 300 followers, and it would go viral. So I told him, I was like, there's something special about how you take photos. And so can we just get a camera and just try this out? And he was like, okay, not very excited. And then it just grew, because I know that he has a very special eye in the way he captures anything. And so he's the main person that takes all of my photos. And he actually was the one that started filming my first online series. And he has no experience with this. He just knows how to create something out of nothing and just make it amazing. He's just so talented like that. So now we actually are releasing an app, and he's also, my main videographer, my main everything. He has another job, but he does this just to.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. That is amazing. It's a family affair. I love it.
He has his gorgeous muse to propel this forward. That's really cool. And the photography is absolutely stunning. I mean, even the picture I'm looking at right now on our Zoom meeting is insane. It's so beautiful.
It was taken by him as well. Thank you.
So you just said you've got this app coming. Tell us about that.
Tell us about the app and your website. I saw it said coming soon.
So this app, I wanted to create a platform that, offers kind of accessible movement classes for people all around the world, ranging from 5 minutes to 60 plus minutes. And for all levels. So whether you're completely new to yoga, you have a class that you can, a series that you can do every single day that you grow with. And even if you're more experienced as a practitioner, you can also dive deeper into poses, take your time to learn, different types of movements. So it's going to be a blend of yoga, Pilates, and bar, and some meditation classes as well. I just wanted to kind of have it as an extension of my teaching to just, be easy on people's phones or on their laptops, and they can just have really good quality classes to use.
That's genius. It'll do really well.
When is it going to launch? Congratulations.
I think it's launching in September now. So it's very soon. I've been filming a lot of different things for it here. So I've been traveling around the country and just kind of sharing my home with my app so that my students from everywhere can get to experience it with me too. So I'm so excited.
That's
okay.
amazing.
Well, you'll have to let us know when it launches so we can tell our listeners. Well, maybe by the time that this airs, it might be launched.
It might be launched.
Super exciting.
So check it out. Yeah.
Yes. I can't wait. That's awesome.
Well, the app sounds incredible, and I'm super excited for it, and I'm so happy for you. It's huge.
We will definitely be subscribers
for sure.
Yay.
So let's take it into our wrap session, Amina. We have a couple of fun questions to ask you because you are without a doubt the picture of health and wellness and beauty. So what is your favorite wellness or beauty hack?
So my favorite wellness or beauty hack is a good skincare routine, something new that I've started doing. And I just love it. And now it's like my daily thing. And I've noticed such a big difference because it's also kind of a mindfulness practice, just taking that time, especially if you're a mom or you're running a business and running around. So I just really enjoy my daily, very simple skincare routine.
And what is that routine?
So I wake up, I wash my face, and I put vitamin C. My dermatologist is the one that recommended all of this. And then I put my sunscreen. And then at night, I wash my face with a double cleanse. And then I put my retinol and moisturizer and then go to sleep. So this is very simple. But
good routine.
It's my daily practice for skincare.
That sounds amazing. You'll have to give us the brands that you use, and we'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah.
I find too, like sometimes now that I'm into a skincare routine as well, that it's very like therapeutic in a way. It's like relaxing to do that at night and have that ritual.
Yeah, it really is. And then I actually noticed it's like, it gives you these results after a while. Like it's not a quick fix, but it's like, now I'm really seeing the difference because I've kept up with it. So I always believe that consistency is the most important thing, consistency over intensity, and it's been great.
Yeah, for sure. Love it. Okay, so the next one's kind of fun. We call it our 5-minute flow. You just got out of the shower and dried off, and Uber pings you. They're 5 minutes away. What are you going to do to get out the door and get in that Uber on time? Like your holy grails. What do you do to get it together and out there?
So I would get out of the shower, put honey oil on my hair. It's something I really like to do. And then sunscreen and eyeliner, and that's it. I don't know what
Nice.
else.
What's this honey oil? That sounds intriguing.
I think it's a brand called Jisoo, and it's really nice if you have curly hair. And I've kind of been leaving my hair curly, so I put it on the ends, and it just gives your hair. It just stops your hair from being frizzy, especially with New York City humidity, where I live most of the time. It's very humid in the summer, so it's called Jisoo. It's great.
Nice.
Ooh, that's nice. I haven't heard of that before. Okay, and Amina, this probably goes without saying, but how do you maintain your daily nirvana?
It's either the daily movement or a 5-minute meditation every day where I just sit down, just focus on my breath, and I actually put a timer for 5 minutes, and I sit and just see the thoughts that come up, and I just shift back my attention to my breath. And it's such a simple, small thing, but it makes the biggest difference in my day.
It's a good reminder to us all.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's pretty easy, it's just something that you kind of just keep up with and just do. And like my husband says, it's annoying because it's something that you really feel the difference when you don't do it,
It's true. Well, I was going to ask you, when I started yoga, it was before I started meditating, and I noticed how present it made me. And don't you feel like yoga is such a meditative practice that it can almost work? It can do the same thing for a lot of people. I find yogis are always super present and engaging and calm, which is such a lovely byproduct.
Yeah, it really is. I always love, one of my friends says there's a you before yoga and a you after yoga, and those two people are not the same. And it's so true. You can walk into a yoga class with so much just, chaos and chatter and a lot of, ideas about your day or about yourself. And you just leave that class just feeling a little bit lighter. And that's so valuable.
All right. Well, should we wrap with our product review? And then I think, Amina, you have a mantra for us, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So let me kick in this product review really fast.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear this. Katie's been like bringing all these product reviews, surprising me, and I don't know what they are. So I'm like very excited to hear what you have.
Well, speaking of vitamin C cream, Amina, it's part of your repertoire now. It's part of mine as well. We recently interviewed a dermatologist, Dr. Nazarian. She'll be, her episode will be out shortly. And she was talking about vitamin C cream because I've always had kind of uneven skin and I felt like it's been really dull lately. So I got this product. It's Sunday Riley's Fabulous. We've talked about Sunday Riley before, and it's their CEO 15% vitamin C brightening serum.
Nice.
I have used it for a month now, and within probably like a week or 2 weeks, I noticed a difference instantly. Like my skin tone has always been a little uneven, and it's now evened out to the point where I don't feel like I need to put makeup on anymore.
Oh my gosh. Your skin looks amazing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's also brighter. Like I don't know how to describe the difference between my skin not being bright and when it is bright. It's just something I notice and I see. Like before, it just felt like dull, maybe sometimes like ashy and pale. And now there's a brightness to it. So you can get this at sundayriley.com or Sephora. Obviously, I'm sure many other places. It's $85 for a 1.7 fluid ounce. And the ingredients that matter, the key ingredients is obviously the vitamin C. It has phytosterols complex, and they help reduce the look of redness, which is partly like why I would be blotchy all the time and never felt like my skin tone was even. It was like redness around my nose and stuff. And then saccharide isomerate extract, glycolic acid, all the good stuff. And then of course it's without all the bad stuff that we don't like, the parabens, sulfates, and everything.
So Katie, do you put that on in the morning? Like, is that the first thing you put on your skin or do you do like a serum first?
So this is the very first thing I put on. I used 2 pumps. I was doing it day and night and I kind of ripped through it quickly. And now I'm looking at their website and it says really like, if you just use it in the morning, it works just as well. So I literally ran out yesterday and I had a little panic attack, but yeah, I've been doing that. And then my serum and then my lotion and my eye cream, but I love it. And it also happens to be, it was rated by like Elle in 2020 as like the number 1 product for the year.
Oh, wow.
So it's legit. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. I like that brand a lot. I have the SkinCeuticals vitamin C, but it's like vitamin C with CE with ferulic acid, which I really like too. But when that runs out, I'm going to try this for sure.
Yeah, you'll love it. And I mean, it worked right away. It really did. It's really good stuff.
That's great. Well, good product review. Thanks for that. And we're going to close out the show with Amina giving us a mantra, which I'm excited to hear.
It's been my mantra for the past year since the pandemic hit. And I actually, another yoga teacher that I was teaching at a festival said it in his class and it stuck with me. And it's, I breathe in, I love my body. I breathe out, I'm home in my body.
I love that.
So, I was just like taking that in. That's
I was
beautiful.
too. I know. I was just thinking I'm going to be using that when I meditate later. That's beautiful. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Amina. This has been great. I definitely would love to have you back. I feel like there's so many more yoga and questions about you. I want to hear all about your Egypt experience this summer and all the cool stuff you're working on. But I know we're running out of time today, but thank you so much for your time, for dialing in from Egypt, for sending us all your positive energy and vibes and just your beautiful soul. I think you're such a great person. And I just hope I can see you sometime soon, maybe when you're back in New York.
Yes, I hope you come into a class or even just take an online class.
I know.
And see you.
Katie and I will definitely have to join in. Yeah.
And Katie too. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun to chat with you. And I hope we chat again soon.
Thank you. Thanks, much. Amina.
Thanks for listening to Nirvana Sisters. For more information on this episode, check out the show notes, please subscribe and leave us a review. Also, find us on Instagram at Nirvana Sisters. If you loved what you just listened to or know someone that would, please share it and tag us. Tune in next week for a fresh new episode of Nirvana Sisters. We'll continue to watch out for all things wellness so you don't have to. Bye.